Welcome to another day in the Matrix. This is Waters Above, and we had a big day in the markets yesterday during the Federal Reserve Board's FOMC meeting. But of course, you all come here for the esoteric perspective on these markets, and that's exactly what we're going to be exploring in today's video. Starting off with a highly requested decode of this current GameStop euphoria, and then getting into the significance of next week with the summer solstice, and combining all these elements together with thorough technical analysis on the crypto markets, and addressing what I feel is coming next for Bitcoin, and of course the altcoins, and sharing exactly how I'm going to play these markets over the remainder of this month, and my thesis for the coming month of July. So if you're new here, we do cryptocurrency technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, Numerology, and Astrology to understand these markets. Feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell notification to stay updated on when new videos come out. And make sure to give this video a like and share this channel with other conscious beings to help grow our community. And with that being said, let's take the clear pill. So, over the past week, I've received an overwhelming amount of requests to share my thoughts on this whole GameStop and RoaringKitty situation. So I started looking into it, and actually it reveals a lot of other connections going on with the markets and what's happening on the world stage. So that's what we'll be decoding to kick this off today. And it's come to my attention that this character, RoaringKitty, whose name is Keith Gill, holds call options that require GME stock to be above $21 per share by June 21st for him to profit from this trade. Although I believe he did sell off some of his position yesterday during the FOMC meeting, according to some of the updates my community has shared with me, but that's just a side note. What's important is this number 21 here, with the 21st day of June and $21. And what's so fascinating about this is that the day this trade was disclosed to the public on June 3rd regarding June 21st call options with a $20 strike price, during this trading day, GameStop went up 21%. And all the news headlines were including this 21% data point. So this was all intentional from the start of this ritual. And let me just quickly go to GME and show you what I'm talking about. So here we have the date of June 3rd, and if you just look right over here where I'm hovering my cursor, it will say plus 21%. Again, we're talking about when the day this was disclosed, price goes up 21%, and this is about a $21 share price by June 21st. And this happens to be during the solstice. The number 21 here is symbolic because 21 esoterically is 3 sevens, 777. It's the jackpot number associated with gambling, and that is what this entire ritual is. The day of this famous live stream where there was over 500,000 people tuned in at one time, it was June 7th, the 7th day of the month, and a 21 date numerology. Again, perfectly synced with what I just mentioned moments ago. 21 is 3 sevens, 777 is the jackpot, 21, which was the date numerology of the day of the live stream. And these options expire on the 21st day of the same month, which requires the price to be above $21 per share, all tied to the number 7. And to add even more strength to this decode, June 21st is a 17 date numerology. And the numerology behind all of this, going a little bit deeper, we have 17 is the 7th prime number, another 7 connection. And let's just keep going. We have GameStop ticker symbol GME giving you 25 in basic English Gematria, where ABC is 1, 2, 3, all the way up to Z being 26, naturally. GME adding up to 25, as you could see the breakdown here. 2 plus 5 equals 7. That's what it would reduce down to in the rules of numerology. You also have GME giving you 16 in full reduction. Again, 1 plus 6 reduces down to 7 in the rules of numerology. Also, the day before this live stream, which was on June 6th, which was seemingly bullish, purely on anticipation of this live stream, of course. And you could see that GameStop actually closed this day. Again, look up here. you'll see that GameStop actually closed off this day right into a 47% gain, but with a 47% price on the highs. Again, let's tie in Gematria, and you have GameStop plus the ticker symbol GME giving you 47 Chaldean. And remember what I mentioned in prior videos, the Gregorian calendar is misnumbered on purpose. They misnumber the months to confuse. For instance, we have October, just quickly jump over to here. We have October, octo, the prefix means 8, like an octagon has 8 sides, and November starts with a novem, prefix meaning 9, December, deci, that means 10. What this means is that March is the true first month in the system, then April would be your second, then May would be your third, making June the 4th month in the system. And when this live stream happened was on the true 4th month on the 7th day, making this 4-7. GameStop GME 4-7. The day before this, 47% gain, $47 share. These numbers were all synchronized based on this live stream. You cannot make this stuff up. Again, this was obviously a ritual. For this month's new moon, we had it on June 6th, and that's important that we bring this up, and you'll know exactly why I was not falling for any of this, because getting bullish on the day of a new moon, anticipating prices to go much higher, is fine, but you need to have an investment thesis, you need to know technical analysis, and when you already have such a volatile stock that only moves off of this narrative and this effectively what is a market ritual of a failing company that's just holding on by the threads of a cultural moment, it's not safe to get bullish when the energetics are pivoting, and this is where our system here comes into play. So this new moon that happened on June 6th into June 7th, it was a new moon in Gemini. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is the trickster. We could see this stock effectively topped out on the 6th, and you see that blue dot up there is the new moon. This white dot down here is the full moon, and we'll be getting into this. So that's exactly what happened here. It was an attention grab for a stock that's literally dropped 40% during this live stream. And the live stream, as far as I can tell, it ended pretty awkwardly, leaving 500,000 people confused as to what's going on. Why did my hero fail me? And it's because your hero is an industry plant who is merely a pawn in the game, like many are. When they have this much attention coming into them, it's because it's happening for a reason. And this time, the game literally stopped. For those that follow along this channel, you're aware that we use the lunar cycles to determine when to expect bullish energy in a market and when to expect bearish energy. And typically we see the market move bullish from a full moon, trading into a new moon. And then we see the market move bearish, moving away from a new moon, trading into the following full moon. So in plain English, do not get bullish on the literal day of the new moon. That's typically a time to anticipate a microcycle top and a short-term reversal into the following new moon. Into the following full moon, excuse me. So anyone who knows this would have not gotten caught up in this whole ritual to begin with. But if you did want to be a part of this cultural moment and actually profit from it, then you would have longed on the prior full moon, which you can see is the exact microcycle low, and you would have de-risked or at least exited the position fully by that following new moon on June 6th. You can clearly see when you turn on the moon phase indicator how this all played out. GME bottomed on the prior full moon, and then it rose into the following new moon, then immediately sold off the following day. And it wasn't just GameStop, it was Bitcoin as well. So speaking of Bitcoin, let's pivot over and just remember some of these key things that we brought up so far. And we're going to break down this decode even more for you all, starting with a little bit of the TA on this recent play, and then bringing in some more esoteric elements. So we're over here. We're going to be looking at this chart that I've prepared for you all. I'm going to be turning off the moon phases, and we're just looking at the patterning here. So we have this green trend line that's going across the screen diagonally, going all the way back to October 2023, right on that solar eclipse, which we've been tracking and talking about for about a half a year before that eclipse even happened. And I was just putting a lot of emphasis back then on me being fully positioned before that October solar eclipse. In plain English, I told everyone here publicly that I would have a majority of my portfolio built out and completed before this moment. Because the way that the lunar and solar cycles work is as you progress from eclipse to eclipse during a solar cycle, you get progressively more bullish. Now, ever since this moment, we did get a little bullish too quick on Bitcoin, but now that we see how it all played out, which we'll get to a little bit later in more detail, we're on over 100 days of sideways at this new level. So we haven't really broken out into what's called true price discovery. And by being fully positioned before this moment, you can see that there was a horizontal trading range that was effectively 250, 260 days. It was an incredibly lucrative time to have yourself mostly positioned. But again, I'm well aware everyone has a different investment thesis. Everyone's joining this market a little bit at different times. Some of you were in this market in 2016. Some of you got in 2019, 2020. Some of you are just getting in now. So if you're brand new to all of this, don't worry. We're here to give you the truth of how these markets are working, and you'll have some of these elements that you don't even need to be that smart to be able to apply, such as anyone could go over here and just load up when all the new moons and full moons are for a year. You could load up when all the solar and lunar eclipses are for the year. And I've given you some of the most important data points of information year in advance, at least. We talked about this April solar eclipse that started our solar cycle at least half a year before it happened. Then we talked about the fourth solar eclipse of our solar cycle being significant over a year before it happened, and that's coming up on October 2nd, 2024, and when to anticipate this all kind of turning around, which would be the lunar eclipse, lunar cycle starting in mid-March 2025. This is all information for free, available here. I actually do go into it very in depth in my new crypto decoding blueprint, which I just released last week, separate from everything else that I had going on in my decoding mastermind course. So for those of you that want this broken down step by step in a very comprehensive, short and sweet blueprint, it's available now on my website, watersabove.com, and you'll see it's just right here when you scroll down. Click on this button, and then it will show you the drop-down menu where you'll have all the course lessons. And I decode a lot of important cryptos, but also give a full decode of how this 2024 bull run is likely to be fulfilled and how to play the year of 2025. Anyways, getting back into this, we have this important trend line that's been in place since an important astrological moment. Then we back tested it over here on January 23rd after we had the buy the rumor, sell the news event of the Bitcoin ETF approval and launch. So that was right here on January 10th, the following day the ETFs launched, and then we had a 20% or so correction back into this trend line. Great. Now over here, we had another correction after the all-time highs down on May 1st, and then a bounce holding this green line as a structural support for most of May. And then just a couple of days ago, we actually broke below it. So this is a 240-day trend line going on 8 months now, and Bitcoin has officially closed the daily candle below this trend line just this past Tuesday on June 11th for the first time in 8 months. And with yesterday's short-lived buyback, which we're going to go into like the 12-hour chart and show you, yesterday we had this short-lived buyback because of that FOMC meeting. There was a lot of energy going into that. Bitcoin closed off the day under that level, even though we did have a flash above. We can't really call this a bull trap necessarily. We know that this was the FOMC meeting. It's to be expected to have volatility on that day. But the way that we broke below it for the first time, this green trend line for the first time in over pretty much 8 months now, and then we traded back into it and got this rejection here, well, that's precarious. That is very weird, and that could be potentially flipping into a resistance, and we'll have to wait and see with a confirmation. And the basic confirmation here would be, does Bitcoin come back down and close below this candle right here, which was on June 10th, which would be about 66,000, let's just say 66,700. And it would definitely be confirmation if we had a daily candle close below 66K. And as you can see based on this chart, we're within a cup and handle formation, currently trading within the handle of this pattern and a support holding on several candles here. This could double up as a bull flag pattern, currently trading within the flag. So that would have a measured move about 85,000, which actually aligns perfectly with the fib pull of what's going on from this swing high to this swing low. If I was to zoom out a little bit for you, you'd see that this 1618 golden ratio is about 84,000. If I was to double click this and turn this setting on, you'd see that switch to about 87K. So let's just say for fairness, this bull flag would have a measured move somewhere up into that range right there of the 1618. And again, I'm just pulling a fib from the all-time high down to the swing low on May 1st. Now, I'd personally go with an 83K Bitcoin target. And I do feel that it's possible to time this, although that's not, the most fun part of this, honestly. The fun part is being invested in a market thoroughly a long time in advance and then just chilling. But if people want the timing on all of this, I personally go with about an $83,000 Bitcoin around the August new moon. So you can see right here the date of the August new moon. Let's just say the first to second week of August. It would make a lot of sense to have that alignment. Funny enough, in the Gregorian system, August is your 8th month, and the day before being the 3rd day, you would write that internationally is 3-8. And this number 83 is significant for our decodes this year because it's the mirror of the number 38, and 38 is 3 eighths, 888 is 24. All right. Now, if you're brand new here, I am sorry if this is a little bit confusing, but it's just a way of esoterically perceiving the numbers. So again, we have 38. 38 is comprised of 3 eighths. 8 plus 8 plus 8 gives you 24. 24 is the key number for this year, the Gregorian year of 24, which is also the Hebrew year of 5,784, which reduces to 24. Also the year of the X, with the Great American Eclipse forming an X over the state of Texas. You have X being the 24th letter in the alphabet. Also, kind of a more hidden layer to all of this, but you remember Kobe Bryant wore the number 8 when he started off his career, and then he ended it wearing the number 24. He allegedly passed on from a helicopter crash. Also, the president of Iran, and we have 24 right there in the name of that country, the mirror of that also 42. He died this year in a helicopter crash just shortly after the Iran drone strike on Israel, which, by the way, happened on a 68 date numerology. Let me just quickly show you this. So we had the 4 or 5, 13, I believe it was. Actually, I don't remember the exact date of, yes, it was the 19th exactly when this event happened. It was a 68 date numerology, and we were talking about this in preparation for this date. So before we even had the May 19th date, if you just go to the YouTube video I released 1 week before this, or I believe it was just before this particular date, I talked about this Iran connection to this particular date, and it was unbelievable to watch how that all went down with the Iranian president. I know some of you might be aware of this, a lot of you remember it, and if you don't, go check out that video. I'm still mind blown how that all went down myself. But just next week, we have a date numerological connection on the 19th, or sorry, the 18th. Same date numerology, by the way. So this was the day the Iranian president event happened with the helicopter crash. And this is next week. So now we're getting into the decode of what next week has in store for us. We have 68, 68, 23, 23. 68 is your war code. So I started looking into June 18th a little bit more to see what this could be tied to, and I found a gem. Now, if you're new to the channel, hang in there. What I'm about to get into could be shocking, but for those that have been following along our journey, you'll know that I've been consistently bringing up the number 49 this year due to an exoteric layer of sports, which is the 49ers losing both Super Bowls against the Chiefs in the year 2020. That was the trigger for the C19 event in that year, and that changed all of our lives. And then we had the 49ers lose to the Chiefs again this year in the year of the mythological character Satoshi Nakamoto's 49th birthday, which was on April 5th. Now, if we take from the date Bitcoin hit its daily close all-time high, so we're going back to the Bitcoin chart, this was the daily close all-time high on March 13th. Let me bring up the daily chart. We go over 49 days, and you're going to see 49 days later was our current lowest daily close that we've had. From high to low, as above, so below, perfectly synchronized, 49 days. By the way, on this date of March 13th, that was the 73rd day of the year, and this is the only daily candle close for Bitcoin at 73K. Perfectly synchronized. So, if we take from May 1st and we include the end date, you're going to see that from May 1st to June 18th is 49 days, which is the date that we just talked about moments ago because it has the 68 date numerology, the war code. Also, it lands on a Tuesday. That's Martes, day of Mars, the god of war. So this synchronizes. Now, if we don't include the end date and we bring it over to the 49 days, it's June 19th. Let me just show you really quickly again so we could stay on track together. You have 49 days after Bitcoin's all-time high to Bitcoin's lowest daily close, and then 49 days after that day, we would have June 19th. Okay, so take a note of this June 18th and June 19th date right now. You're going to want to keep this stuff in mind. Another reason is we have a lot of connections here with these two numbers of 24 and 69. Again, earlier I told you 24 is our main code for this year of the dragon. You have that 24 code showing up a lot, and this is leading into the solstice. It's why today's video has solstice included, because I believe that's a very key layer in what's going to be going down into next week regarding the markets and everything with this GameStop ritual. So June 19th also connects to our last solar eclipse, which was on the 8th. And if you're including the end date, you have April 8th, Great American Eclipse, connecting to June 19th by 73 days. And remember what I just told you. Bitcoin closed its one and only daily close at 73K on the 73rd day of the year. This is massive, guys. Some of you might be wondering, what does 73 matter? So let me just quickly add this layer in. 73 is your 21st prime number. Remember, we started this whole video off talking about the significance of 21. 21 is 777. Everything going on with GameStop is about this number 21. So this is how you get deeper into the code. I'm showing you my exact strategy right now. And to really top this off with another crazy connection, June 19th, compared to the last Bitcoin all-time high cycle high, which was back on November 10th of 2021, you're going to see it is 2,222 days apart, 2222, or 4 twos, 42, mirror of 24. Unbelievable. Notice how June 19th has a 69 double-digit date numerology. Well, this was the one and only day that Bitcoin hit $69,000. You cannot make this up. And if you're ready to have your mind blown, if you included the end date, this is really deep, maybe just a side note, but could be significant. This is 953 days apart, and 953 is the 162nd prime number. So all I need you to do, remember the number 162. Then if you go from June 19th to the day the Bitcoin ETF was approved, which was on January 10th of this year, it's 162 days apart. This is wild. So these are incredible synchronicities with the code. And some of you might be asking, what does this all mean? Well, we have the exoteric solstice around June 20th into 21st. We have the full moon on the 22nd into 23rd, I believe in Capricorn. Again, ruled by Saturn. Saturn is your 21 code, 21 tied to Bitcoin, 21 million Bitcoin in supply. And we have this decode for June 18th and June 19th, which we were just getting into, leading into this, which is all happening during the 25th week of the year. And that 25 code ties perfectly into crypto with the 25. And the mirror of 25, which is 52, cryptocurrency, 25 in the ticker symbol BTC for Bitcoin. All of this is happening synchronizing with GME, 25, just like BTC, 16, 1 plus 6 is 7, BTC, 7 in reduction. So the sevens are everything right now, guys, and this is kind of what we have to consider the jackpot number, 777, it's gambling. That's what's been going on right now. That's why all the memery has been going on. That's why what's going on with RoaringKitty is going on. It's all just an attention grab, and it's okay. We'll be talking about like what's the real play here, right? And some of the market wisdom, because I'm not trying to get you guys to avoid that stuff. If you are talented at trading and you can keep your emotions out of this and you have an investment strategy and an investment thesis and a wealth plan and all of that stuff, then have fun, right? It's all about having fun in this market. If you're acidic, though, if you're just always worried, you're always like waking up, checking the numbers on your portfolio, then you might want to check in with what's going on here. Like it could lead to some serious mental health issues. And what happened with the Wall Street bets thing a couple of years ago and everything revolving around that created more losses and more mental health issues than it did set people free. So we're just giving the clear pill here, not even the red pill. Like, we must go deeper and have this awareness that true wealth has nothing to do with numbers. It has to do with consciousness. All right. So let's get back to this. Around a full moon is typically when we see our microcycle lows within a 5-day window. So this gives us a range from the upcoming Monday, which is the 17th, gives us a range from Monday 17th until around June 27th, Thursday. That range of June 17th to June 27th, I want you to consider for a potential deeper pullback for the crypto market. And this could very well be the final lows for Bitcoin before it enters what we would call true price discovery, heading towards 80K and so on within the month of July, trading into August. So even though I gave you the 83K target for August, we could absolutely have a correction in the short term. So now let's get into that chart and show how this pullback could all go down in the short term. We're going to be opening up this chart. It's a horizontal trading range on Bitcoin. I tried to have it very clean for you all, very nice and organized. I love this chart. I've been using it now for several months. It's this level of importance right here of around 66,600. Funny enough, 666, but well, that is a very key level for you to keep in mind, which is the fib pull 618, the bottom of the golden pocket. And I want to show you how this aligns actually with a key moving average on these charts. And we have right here, the 55 simple moving average, it is sitting at 66,000. So right now, if Bitcoin was to close below 66,000, that would typically trigger a continuation of the sell-off. It would be weird for it to get supported at 66K. It would make a lot of sense for it to drop a little bit deeper during this month. And that lower level to consider would be this 382 fib, which is around 62,500. So between 64,500 to 62,500 would be a nice pullback area for a support for Bitcoin to find. And we need to talk about the line in the sand scenario, which would be Bitcoin at 61,000. Closing a daily candle below that level at this time, based on the structure that we've built over the past 100 days, would absolutely be precarious. So I just want to let you know, it is very rare for Bitcoin to come all the way up to this 888 fib so many times, get rejected so many times, and then it follows with a correction all the way down to the 236. That is a very questionable structure. That would shake out a lot of traders, and it would probably lead to a big liquidation ritual of many leverage traders. It would destroy sentiment in a lot of ways as well. Again, here with what we're doing, we're not getting bullish, we're not bearish. Follow the moon, be a wolf. So, especially since we've had 4 clear rejections up at this top level around 71,500, which is a level that I pointed out in the last YouTube video. Check that out if you haven't. My intuition says that if Bitcoin was to have a healthy correction right now into around 64 to 63K, that would be fine. Closing a daily candle below 63K at this time would be a little too deep of a correction for how this setup has been going for the past month. But keep in mind, Bitcoin has traded from the low 60K territory straight into the 70K territory several times over the past 100 days. We could see it happening at the beginning of March. We could see it happening again at the end of March right here. From March 20th through March 27th, exactly one trading week, Bitcoin went from 61 to 71,000. And then it did it again, literally from May 14th to May 21st. The same exact move. So if we flushed all the way down to 61K in the short term, Bitcoin could easily recover back to 70K in literally just a week's time. We've already seen it happen 3 times already. And to time all of this, if we were to see a low 60K Bitcoin, which would be from 60K to 63K, around this upcoming full moon, which is on June 22nd, then we could have a buyback into the following July new moon and be right back at 70K into the first to second week of July. But for me, I'm looking for at least a retest of this 0.5 fib here, somewhere around 64,500. That would be a healthy correction. And closing below 61K at this time would be sketchy. Even just retesting into 61K would be a big flush for the altcoins. It could destroy sentiment, especially with Bitcoin being sideways for so long now. And to start July would be a full 4 months of sideways in this horizontal trading range. And if Bitcoin could actually break out into price discovery before August, or at least by August, then we'd have been in this horizontal trading range for almost half a year now. So you'll see why I decided to de-risk some of my positions to shuffle into altcoins, because even with the Bitcoin ETFs approved at the start of the year, my analysis was not pointing to expect a true price discovery for Bitcoin and to not expect an alt season for the earlier half of this year, and to expect Bitcoin price discovery after Gemini season in the earliest case scenario. And definitely not to expect alt season until after Bitcoin has gone into its first phase of price discovery, which is typically a 2 to 3 month period. And I decoded this all very thoroughly in that new crypto decoding blueprint I just released at watersabove.com. So yeah, with this promo code REDPILL at checkout, you'll be able to get this for just $100, making this the most affordable blueprint for how much value is packed into it. So there we have it. This upcoming solstice could be ritualized and synced up with this industry plant from GameStop and this trade setup on June 21st, requiring the GameStop price to be above $21 to profit. And this is all synchronized with Bitcoin and the crypto market, since the attention that's given to GameStop spills over into the crypto market, or the people that are interested in crypto, that attention spills over into GameStop, vice versa. It's all part of the mimetic warfare. And we're just about a week out from seeing how this all plays out, and exactly 1 week away from the key dates that I brought up of June 18th. The 68 date numerology, what I'm calling the war code, could very well be a war-related ritual. And the following date of June 19th, specifically for Bitcoin and the crypto market, essentially this 25th week of the year is packed with energy and attention focused on the meme stocks and the crypto market. So with the FOMC meeting out of the way, I expect this upcoming week to be ritualized just like it was during Keith Gill's live stream. And we just had the FOMC meeting yesterday, so let's give it a couple of days to see how this all comes to, conclusion. But I'm expecting some corrective energy until around this month's full moon, which is on June 22nd, and a recovery for July and August. It aligns with how the markets typically behave during a presidential election year, with August being the best performing month we've had. And also, we have some pretty nasty corrections in September and October, which we'll touch on in upcoming videos. But for now, stay focused on what matters most. Don't fall for the shiny objects. Protect your energy at all costs during these times. Because it's important now more than ever to stay focused, stay in your lane. Don't get distracted by all this memery because it's momentary anyways. It comes and goes. And unless you're a highly skilled trader or have a really dialed in exit strategy, well, if that's not the case for you, then it's not the game that you should be playing because that's called gambling. And what goes on here in the stock market and especially crypto is effectively the greatest casino of all time. It's taking way more than it gives. And those who receive abundance in these markets are typically the ones who are patient and have a plan laid out, and they're not so emotional, and they're not getting caught up in the cult of personality of all these influencers out here. You have a strategy, and you know when to call it quits and when to walk away from the casino in profit. And that's what we're focused on here. As long as we stay profitable in the process, there's nothing to worry about and there's nothing worth getting distracted by. So we're going to wrap this up here. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Try to pack it with as much value as possible from front to back. Appreciate every single one of you for tuning into this. And anyone who's recently invested in my new crypto decoding blueprint, I appreciate your support. Very grateful for you investing in my art, and I'm wishing you all a beautiful rest of your week in the Matrix. I'll be catching you all very soon. Much love.